Reza Razali from Terato Tech.
When people look at 3D printing, people think it's magic, right? That's what I thought 6 months ago when I bought my first 3D printer. Yeah, I thought it was magic. But it's not magic, it's an expensive hobby. Because I moved on from RC. Initially my hobby was cars, right? But then you hit a limit when your income is at a certain level. So I went to RC, and RC gets too expensive. So I decided that I need a new hobby, right? Being a geek, I don't like to exercise or do that. So I decided to maybe do 3D printing. And what I discovered when I went into 3D printing is basically not easy. It's difficult, and for me right now, it is an expensive hobby. I have to spend a lot just to try out new filaments, new machines, and all that. So basically, could anyone figure out what that is? I thought I'm in a group where you guys would figure this out easily. We troll him every day. Huh? That's actually that's a model of the PM lah. We built yeah. I actually have a model I wanted to give away, so I still have to keep it lah. Yeah. So yeah, sorry about that lah. So this is one of the most exciting stuff that I've done after spending quite a bit of money. Some cool stuff because we have some cool people at Trato. So they built this like a modular model of Najib, and then we have Anwar and Lim Kit Siang. So we have that the whole thing. So yeah, so I started my foray in 3D printing about 6 months ago. I started with a Prusa i3 from Blomke Industries. So if you want to start with a kit model, this is a good model. I think the guy that's running it, Bayer, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. So I bought this machine with the understanding that when I've gone online, I see that 3D printing is just so difficult. So for the machine, for me to be able to maintain the machine, the only way for me to understand it is to build it on my own lah. But basically what I did was I bought the kit, and then I get my guys to do it lah. So I just chill out for 7 hours. But they built it in 7 hours. So from that experiment, we played with the machine for about a month. So we understand how the machines work, and I decided to go for an upgrade lah. My next upgrade will be from Delphin lah, but later on, yeah. So what I did about a month after that, I procured a Replicator 2X. It's an experimental 3D printer. You can experiment with a lot of different filament, dual extrusion, heated bed, enclosed chamber, all the very cool stuff lah. But basically from all this experiment, what I've discovered is behind every successful prints, there are numerous discards and failed prints by Abraham Lincoln. So yeah, so for every 1 kilo of filament that you have, you think that 1 kilo of filament going to generate 1 kilo of objects, but I don't think so lah. I think sometimes you have 1 kilo of filament, your first week you'll just be able to print this one model, and the rest are going to be failed prints and discards. And, so this is what happened when, this is not my picture, this is all from Google Image or Flickr. This is what this is some of the things that will happen to you, because when you first bought a printer like MakerBot, they give you an SD card in which you have all the model that's very safe to print. You print, it will not fail, right? So you get confident. So what you'll do is you'll try and print something very complex. And then you leave it overnight, you go and sleep, and then you wake up so excited and you went to a printer, and this is what happened lah. Yeah. So failed print is actually really normal. When I first started, my successful print rate about 20% lah. 4 out of 5 will fail initially, but it's an experiment lah. And then this is actually a deformed Yoda. This is a cool failed 3D print, and this is another popular one lah. You see article for a failed 3D print. What happened to this model is the model warped, and then the extruder, the nozzle hit the model. So for every few layer, it was moved by the nozzle. The model was moved, so it couldn't get the extrusion right lah. And then for the frontiers of 3D printing, there are 4 different frontiers as I look at it. For software, you have the modeling software, the slicing software, and then the equipment, and then the material. And there are 4 different, and all these different sets I mean, there's various reasons it will fail for software, for slicing, for equipment, and then for the material as well. In terms of modeling, not all models are 3D printable. This is one of the models I've been trying to print the last 6 months but failed. Especially with FDM machine, right? So it's layer by layer by layer. It's just difficult. So I thought that I don't have to pay for Gundam models anymore, but I still have to. Having a 3D printer does not enable you to print models. I mean, especially difficult model like this one. I've tried to use support structure, all that, build my own support, but still, I mean, it failed lah. Very bad fail lah. Yeah, no successful print. And then also when you design a model, on the left, that's a model that comes with what we call a support structure that came with the slicing software. So if you want a good quality print, you don't want the support structure, because support structure you have to clean up and all that. Yeah, so what you do is when you build a model, you build support structure. So once it's complete, you can just break it off. So that's the better way of doing it. So that's in modeling. If you fail to design your model properly, and then you fail to design support structure, I mean, your model will not print lah. And then when slicing, right? Slicing, you go to a software called Replicator G or MakerWare, all that. So when you print, you should always try and check your slice model before print to avoid disappointment. Because when it goes to a slicer program, sometimes like there's a whistle on the left, there's a good print, and then on the right, the whistle doesn't have any hole in it lah. So it's not a whistle, right? Because depending on your slicing program, sometimes it slices differently lah. It's just Replicator G does it differently, Slicer does it differently, MakerWare does it differently. So you always have to really preview before you print, or else just waste of filament, right? Because this GB takes what, about 2 hours actually. It's not fast lah. And then, as I said, during slicing, you should always add support structure. If you can't build it into the model, you add support structure as a way to defy gravity and support overhang. So that's the only way to. That's an easy way to do it lah. If you are not competent in building the own models, you're only good at grabbing models of Thingiverse. So you just get the support structure from the slicing program. Yeah, but some programs you can. The support structure you can customize, but if you're just MakerWare, whatever, is not much you can do lah. But if you have time, you can play with the support software lah. So actually not easy, because if you want to do 3D printing, you need to do. I don't do models. I'm a programmer, so I'm lucky I have guys who can do it for me. But then I tried to do myself, I get disappointed, and then I have to learn how to do model, and then need to learn slicing. Is just a lot of things to do lah. And then a slicing program also will enable you to build rough. I always like to use rough, but then it don't give you a good finish for a product in which you need to do proper cleanup. And a slicing program, before you print, you should decide whether you want to use a rough or not rough. And slicing program will enable you to do that. And if you don't use rough, a lot of time if you print with ABS plastic, the thing gets warped quite easily. And then let's talk about the hardware lah. Then hardware, the most common fail point is warping, especially for ABS plastic. So let's say you've been printing for quite a while, and then you print a very large object, especially, and then you don't add like a dog ear or some structure which could help it prevent warping. Sometimes the object will warp off the print bed, and then the nozzle will hit, and your whole print will fail. Yeah, the moment the nozzle hit the object, that's it lah. You cannot save it anymore. The print bed, for printing PLA objects, you can do without a heated bed, but then if you want to print ABS, you need a print bed lah. And the print bed enable better adhesion, prevent warping, and all that. And also with a print bed, for different material or different filament, sometimes you need a different. You need ABS juice, something you have to put on top. Sometimes you just put gum uhu. Sometimes you put hairspray. Sometimes you put the blue tape. Yeah. So even the print bed, there's so many. Every filament is different. A white MakerBoard filament and a red filament, their behavior is totally different. Yeah. So sometimes it sticks better to some material than others. Even the Kapton tape, right? It's a very expensive tape. Not all Kapton tape are made to be the same. Some are better, some are worse. Some just works for your printer, will not work for other printers. So there are so many ways it will. And when it doesn't stick, it just your model warp, or your print will just fail. And also, yeah, I forgot to find the right Google picture for this. But it's actually supposed to be a nozzle. And then when you have a clock print head, mostly because you have a bad filament or you contaminated the filament with contaminants such as dirt and all from managing the filament. So that will meet the print head clock, and to unclog a print head actually quite difficult. But I'm lucky I have guys that say, hey, can you unclog the print head for me? I'm lucky. But the rest of you, maybe not so much. It's actually quite tedious to unclog a print head. And then the extruder wheel as well, sometimes it will fail in a way that your filament just refuse to go inside the extruder. Just refuse for whatever reason, you know. You just don't know sometimes. Not the motor, sometimes the gears, sometimes just it won't go in for whatever reason, right? So that's another problem. Yeah, why your print fail. This is not all. This is some of it that I've experienced. I'm only a 6 months user, right? So this is some of the failure that I've had lah. And then our material on the surface of print pad, like I say, gum uhu, Captain tape, Scotch tape, and also what's important for Malaysia is not all filament are made to be the same. So what you have to do is some filament has uneven diameters. If you get a really cheap one, right? Some guys have 1 kg filament for $50. Don't ever buy that. That's crap. So some filament has uneven diameter, so you have to take, right? You have to check if what's the tolerance level, like is this 1.75? If it 1.75, it shouldn't go beyond 1.79 lah. Should stay. The filament should be about 1.73 to 1.79, that range lah. If the filament is not stable, so you get very bad prints and all that lah. And also these filaments, because of our humidity, it's advisable for you to keep it in a box, right? I'm sure we have a lot of big container at home because water is now available. So you put it in there and put dehumidifier or charcoal or rice and put your filament in there. Or else your filament will get spoiled really. I bought a lot of filaments, right? But then a lot of filaments now has moisture, so I get really bad prints, bubble prints and all that, and it get burned. So that's another thing lah. And then the last thing is 3D printing is not magic, you know. This is the thing which has injured me the most lah. All of my injuries this year I got from this. Lucky I got insurance card lah. But cleaning up, you have to use, there's a lot of way that you can clean up. You use pisau, carving tools, ketak pasir, right? It came out really bad most of the time. You have to clean up. So you have to use Dremel. This Dremel thing is actually quite difficult lah. I saw online a lot of guys, the maker movement are using Dremels, but when I use Dremels, it just cracked my model lah. I mean, I just don't have that. I'm not a maker lah, but I get my guys, they can do it properly for me. They can even acrylic paint it nicely, all that lah. And then use soldering iron, and then another best thing that the best thing that I found out to make my print rate went up from 20% to 90% now is use what we call HIPS filament. And with HIPS filament, basically is a polyester type of filament. So you use that as a rough and a support structure. And when the print is done, you can just take it off without affecting the current print. Or also you could just, if you use it as support structure, you put it in the lemon juice thing for like lemon oil for like, it's actually good lemon oil maybe, I don't know. But expensive. I bought it and it's expensive. I had to bought like one tank about 3,500 because I couldn't get there's no way I can get it in Malaysia lah, or I don't try hard enough lah. Yeah, but the diamond allows you to print very complex structure. Yeah, but then what you can do with it is just put the thing in the limonene for not 1 or 2 hours, you know, 5 days, and then your model will come up perfect lah. Yeah, so that's it lah. So in the end, 3D printing is not for everyone. If you don't have a hobby, please go into it. If you barely have enough to buy a house right now, better don't. Yeah, so that's it. So that's my Twitter account, that's my email. Thank you very much.